You know, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, you know, he could buy you one also while you're out.
He got me a Lamborghini.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
Signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything?
Yeah.
Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you tried to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
It's 555.
Yes. Okay.
5555.
Okay. 55. You heard that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe Rogan has built his career on being outspoken, fearless, and unfiltered. He has confronted politicians, exposed industry corruption, and questioned everything from science to media narratives. But this time was different. On this particular episode of his podcast, Joe wasn't fiery or confrontational. He wasn't cracking jokes or debating loudly. He was sad, deeply, visibly sad. And the reason was one name, Diddy, and one story, Justin Bieber at 15 years old. Joe sat in his studio, a folder of papers in front of him, but his energy wasn't the same. He looked down often, pausing between words. He admitted from the start, "This one isn't easy. This isn't something I can laugh about or get angry about the way I usually do. This just hurts." What he had uncovered about Bieber's early years in the industry, about Diddy's involvement in his life at such a vulnerable age, wasn't just disturbing. It was heartbreaking. And Joe carried that heartbreak openly on the mic.
So many horrific accusations, though, involving young singers, children.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's insane.
He makes R. Kelly look like a decent guy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It is crazy. And meanwhile, the guy was like hanging out with Oprah, hanging out with Obama.
Jay-Z,
Everybody.
I'm sure the Clintons were there at some point.
Maybe Bill.
Because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this shit is. Because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
Can't smile in your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that.
And then you have him come to audition for you, right?
Actually, with a few people. My wife at the time.
Right.
It also was Perry Reed, L.A. Reid's first wife.
So you were all sitting in a room somewhere?
We were in a room.
Yeah.
And I showed her the video. And Perry says, "Are you crazy? You better get down there and meet this kid right now. He's amazing."
When all these pics come out and all this stuff with Bieber's big penis, are you the mastermind behind that? Say, listen, show off your big penis and people will come to those concerts? Or are you sitting there?
Is that the kind of management he's doing?
Usher, are you sitting down with him and saying, "Yeah, show your cock," or leave it in your pants? I mean, do you sit him down and say, "Look, part of this is PR,
Hey,
man"?
by the way, he does have a brain of his own.
Yeah, but were you shocked at the size of his penis?
Hey, listen, he has a mind of his own. What he chose to do with his penis is his prerogative. He's managing that aspect of his life.
But Usher is somebody...
I have nothing to do with Justin Bieber's private parts, man.
It started with a resurfaced clip. Years ago, Diddy appeared on television bragging that he had spent 48 hours with a young Justin Bieber. He called it a 15-year-old's dream, but refused to say what actually happened during that time, insisting it was undisclosed. At the time, fans laughed it off as an eccentric celebrity being eccentric. But when Joe revisited it in 2025, it struck him differently.
And good luck when you're older. You know, Justin Bieber had a post the other day on his Instagram talking about all the drugs that he did when he was younger and how much it f***ed him up. And now he's got a relationship with the Lord, and he's got, you know, he's married, and he's trying to be a normal person.
Yeah.
But he's struggling with the fact that he was insanely famous when he was a kid.
Flown out to Atlanta by a manager. His name's Scooter Braun. Flown out to Atlanta just to meet with him and meet different producers and different people. I was actually going to meet Jermaine Dupri at his studio. And who rolls up? Usher in his Range Rover.
We had seen these videos of Justin Bieber being handed over to him at age 15. Great job. Great job. And for his weekend with Diddy camp. I mean, we don't know, but it certainly looks like Justin Bieber is still suffering the fallout from whatever happened to him as he was coming up the ranks of the music world. It really doesn't seem worth it. I mean, I'd love to hear more from his camp about what's real, because it's clear he's suffering. We just don't know from what. And what mother out there would give her 15-year-old boy over to a grown man who's in the rap industry for a weekend with Diddy camp without other adult supervision?
But what truly broke Joe wasn't the clip, it was the documents. In that folder on his desk were travel schedules, timelines, and even a note in Bieber's handwriting. In messy scrawl, Bieber had written, "Please let me sleep. I can't go again. I'm too tired." Joe's hand shook as he held it up to the camera. He set it back down gently like it was fragile. "That's not the voice of a superstar," he said quietly. "That's the voice of a kid who just wants rest, a kid who doesn't understand why no one is protecting him." For a long moment, Rogan didn't speak. His eyes watered, his voice broke. Millions watching felt the weight of that silence.
Say this about Justin Bieber. When people hear about him going insane, like, of course he's going insane. You have no idea what it would be like to be him and to be 17 years old. And girls literally trying to break into his house. They're coming down chimneys. They're flying in on parachutes. They're doing anything they can. They just want to be around him. You want him to be normal?
Oh, man, poor guy.
Months ago, I was really struggling mentally and emotionally, and just there were so many things that were adding up, and I wasn't able to enjoy any of the things that I own.
That stuff's not going to matter to you.
None of the actual things did anything, because I was so hurt and I was so confused and I was so sick, and there was all these things, and I was like, I can't, there's like, you just can't, like you said, you can't enjoy the actual physical, tangible, like, things that money offers, right?
The you of then was on a path of self-destruction.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. So I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids, and saying that's what I want. But I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully... But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted encounters and
What's going on with you guys? Are you working together?
I'm not. I mean, I think that we we've become friends in a strange way, you know.
Like Robin Big.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
I'm big and you're Robin.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
He did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music. And he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish. And he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry. And sort of out of nowhere, he became quite overcome with emotion.
You think I could book that for like the weekend of the 14th when the soundtrack comes out? If so, bump somebody. All right, thanks. I love you, man. Bye. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Normally, Joe responds to scandal with outrage, but this time he didn't roar. He didn't slam the table or curse. He sank into sadness. It's different when you get angry, he said softly. Anger keeps you moving, but sadness stays with you. He admitted he couldn't stop thinking about Bieber as a boy, alone in hotel rooms, scheduled for endless rehearsals, placed into situations where powerful figures controlled his every move. Joe imagined Bieber clutching his guitar in the middle of the night, looking exhausted. He imagined the fear, the isolation, the feeling of being trapped. How do you come back from that? He asked, almost to himself. How do you grow up normal when your teenage years are stolen like that? What weighed on Joe even more was the silence. Diddy had said nothing in response to the resurfaced clip or the mounting questions. The industry too stayed quiet. Labels, executives, producers all avoided the subject. For Joe, that silence felt like betrayal. If you saw it and said nothing, you're part of the problem, he told his audience. This isn't just about Diddy, this is about a system that looked the other way. That system, one that worships profit and image while ignoring human costs, he described it as a machine that chews kids up and spits them out, shaking his head as he thought about how many other young stars had been put through the same grinder. The audience reaction was unlike anything Rogan had experienced. Clips of his trembling voice went viral with captions like, "I've never seen Joe like this," and "This isn't anger, this is heartbreak." Fans admitted they cried along with him. For many, it reframed the scandal entirely. Outrage at Diddy turned into empathy for Bieber. People weren't just demanding accountability anymore. They were grieving what had been stolen from a child. Parents wrote to Joe thanking him for saying what they had felt, watching their own children chase stardom. Some confessed guilt for idolizing the industry without questioning it. "When I saw you break down," one mother wrote, "I realized we all failed Justin. We clapped and cheered while he was falling apart." Joe's sadness gave other celebrities the courage to speak. A former child actor posted a video saying Joe's tears reminded them of nights they cried alone backstage, wishing someone would notice. "I thought nobody cared back then," they said. Up in time, musicians and performers echoed the same. They admitted they had long suspected Bieber's early years weren't as glamorous as they looked, but they hadn't expected to see someone like Joe Rogan break down over it. His sadness validated their unspoken fears. Diddy's silence made the contrast sharper. On one side, Joe Rogan, a grown man visibly emotional, mourning what happened to Bieber. On the other, Diddy, unmoved, untouched, silent. It painted a stark moral picture. Diddy looked cold and callous, Joe looked human. In a scandal that could have been brushed off as rumors, it was Rogan's sadness that made it undeniable. Though grief weighed on him, Joe turned it into momentum. On later episodes, he admitted, "I can't stop thinking about that note, about that kid begging for sleep while the world saw him as a gold mine. Instead of letting that sadness paralyze him, he used it to push for change." He called for parents, managers, and fans to demand better protections for young artists. He framed it simply, if fame takes away childhood, it isn't worth it. Advocacy groups latched onto his words. Hashtags like #ProtectTheNextKid trended worldwide. Youth organizations cited Joe's sadness in their campaign, saying, "If someone like Joe Rogan can care this much, we all should." The cultural impact was massive. Entertainment outlets replayed Rogan's breakdown in primetime, not because it was scandalous, but because it was human. Psychologists explained the long-term damage of child stardom. Fans began looking back at Bieber's old interviews and concerts with new eyes, noticing signs of exhaustion they once ignored. It wasn't just a scandal anymore, it was a cultural reckoning. Joe's sadness had turned Bieber's story from gossip into tragedy, from whispers into a movement. As the weeks passed, Joe admitted the sadness still haunted him. He kept Bieber's note framed on his desk. It became his daily reminder that this wasn't about views or headlines. It was about a kid whose voice had been ignored. "Please Let Me Sleep" became a symbol for everything wrong with how young artists are treated. In one of his final monologues on the subject, Joe leaned forward and said softly, "I don't want to feel this kind of sadness again. And if speaking out means the next kid doesn't have to write a note like that, then I'll carry this sadness as long as I need to." The lights dimmed, the episode ended, but the sadness stayed in Joe's heart, in his listeners' minds, and in the industry that could no longer pretend it hadn't heard the truth.